Welcome back to the channel from the town of Aguas Calientes, high in the Andes and at the threshold of one of the world's most iconic archaeological sites, and I'm talking about Machu Picchu. The sun is not up yet, but I'm headed to the location where a bus will take me up the mountain from Aguas Calientes, crossing over the river right now on a bridge in the town, so perhaps you can hear the rush of the stream. We'll get started in what promises to be, I hope, a spectacular day at Machu Picchu. I've just passed through the entry gate, and I guess we're officially at Machu Picchu. The site is not in view, but the spectacular canyon between these gigantic mountains as the sun begins to come up is reward in itself. One of the advantages of coming early to Machu Picchu is naturally that there aren't as many people. There are quite a few people here, obviously, but once you enter the site, it's large enough so that it's surprisingly private. Most everyone who comes here frets about what the weather conditions might be when they arrive, especially in the early morning hours when the mist off the Urubamba River, which surrounds this place on three sides, is known to cause some morning fog, develop into morning fog. But I gotta tell you, it's just a perfectly clear early morning, and the visibility here is not hampered at all. So my earlier anxiety about being at Machu Picchu and being wiped out photographically was obviously uncalled for. I've hit my first steep stairs on the site as I've come to a junction that leads to the Temple of the Sun. I'm in a series of rooms above the Temple of the Sun. And again, I'm surprised because I'm the only one here. I've seen the crowds get thinner and thinner as I ascend the mountain. And now that I'm walking here in the relative silence of early morning, and I feel almost as though I'm in a labyrinth here. Let's see where this narrow passageway leads. I hear nothing here but the sound of my voice and the occasional bird. This place has been mythologized as much as any archaeological site in the world, and it's certainly the most famous of the Inca sites, but it was not, as some once believed, the most important Inca site. That title would easily go to the various locations in and around Cusco. So why the tremendous hype about Machu Picchu? Well, for one thing, it's the breathtaking setting of the place. High on a mountain ridge with steep cliffs, on three sides surrounded by the mighty Urubamba River down below, and with towering snow-capped mountains all around. It's really hard to imagine a more spectacular place. As you can see, the sun is now just coming up over the mountains. Machu Picchu's place in the popular imagination is also owing to the tremendous publicity it received when it was quote-unquote rediscovered more than a century ago. Newspapers around the world were filled with headlines about the lost city of the Inca. And then there was the colorful Yale University lecturer and adventurer Hiram Bingham, who came here in 1911 in search of a real lost city of the Inca, and instead stumbled upon Machu Picchu. His method was fairly simple. He went up and down the rugged countryside here, asking locals if they knew of any interesting Inca ruins. And finally, one man said, "Yeah, there's an interesting one up on that mountain." And of course, it turned out to be Machu Picchu. The result was that Bingham became famous. Yale University's employer became the recipient of an enormous amount of Machu Picchu artifacts removed from this site over subsequent Bingham expeditions, and the legend of Machu Picchu exploded. The funny thing is that when the Bingham team hacked their way through the jungle to get up to here, they found not an abandoned site, but a single family, growing corn on these great terraces. I'm down on one of the lower terraces at the site, and it's really difficult to explain this without actually seeing it, how steep these terraces are, and at such elevation. Each terrace, which is of course held by set stone, is more than 3 meters, and then there's another 3 to 5 meters where crops were grown on each one stacked on top of the other. It's really quite amazing. From a practical standpoint, if there's one knock on Machu Picchu, it's the system that's been set up to direct the flow of traffic through here. Of course, I appear to have come at a time when the traffic is relatively low. It's not a big issue, but the issue is tickets to this place are sold in what are called circuits. And if, for example, you're a circuit 3 ticket purchaser, you're assigned a certain route. And if you're a circuit 4 person, you're assigned a different route. They sometimes overlap, but the idea is to keep sort of order, crowd control, to minimize the crowds as much as possible. However, it doesn't quite work, and I can only imagine that it wouldn't quite work when large volumes of people are here, because quite simply there's not enough signage. And so I've already encountered a couple of people, in addition to myself, who are a bit confused by it, and you end up in a little box canyon, if you will, of certain ruins, and you don't see any signs as to which way to exit within your circuit. So fortunately, occasionally a the equivalent of a park ranger here comes by, and you can ask where to go. But it is a little confusing. But a small complaint. I really can't complain about anything else here. This is a spectacular view, and just stepping through that doorway and down these steps into the mouth of the canyon, just a splendor. The quintessential view of Machu Picchu, the photo you always see, involves climbing partway up Machu Picchu mountain to a clearing with its own set of ruins. This place is one of those iconic places that, of course, is an Instagrammer's heaven. And you might, if you've never been here, conclude that it's even overhyped. But when you actually see the place, you begin to get the feeling of it, and you realize there's a reason why Machu Picchu is on everybody's bucket list. I think it's safe to say there's a kind of natural domestication taking place here with the llamas and alpacas that you see, because if you were out on the altiplano away from people, these animals would not let you get anywhere close to them.
Wireless charge. You have to plug it in. I know.
Roll on the planet.
Who's taking it? This for us. Let me just get rid of this back.
I thought.
Excellent. Voilà. Voilà. Jolie photo. Ça, c'est génial.
Ahora, analizando también nuestras ciudades no se han terminado de construir, ¿no?
This wasn't an ancient city at all, as scholarship would later show. It was a special retreat for the Inca Pachacuti, who probably had it built in celebration over one or another indigenous kingdoms that he'd conquered. What we do know is that Pachacuti and his clan had as many as 700 people working here, from low-level farmers growing food on the terraces to near nobility carrying out administrative tasks in support of the Inca during his frequent visits here from Cusco. Its history and function aside, even those who know nothing about Machu Picchu's purpose can't help but be inspired by the sheer majesty of this place. Watch out.
Yeah.